First of all, let's bloody talk about Clair Obscur, man. That game. It won so many joysticks awards and rightfully so, rightfully so. But game awards is a bit of a bigger deal. It is like the Oscars for games. It won 9 trophies at 2025's Game Awards. That was absolutely annihilating the competition for the most part, and it obviously won Game of the Year.
And the game of the year is mon ami Clair Obscur, Expédition Trente-Trois.
Yep. Obviously. Was that even a doubt? Was there even a doubt? I think it did deserve the Game of the Year. I'm not gonna question that. I think it broke the record, the previous record, which was 7 wins set by The Last of Us Part 2 in 2020. It broke the record because this is 9 trophies, which is the most amount of trophies ever received for one game in the Game Awards. It's so interesting because it was the Sandfall Interactive's debut game. It was the first ever game they made. Mind you, the whole studio is made up by mostly seasoned devs, so they have worked on AAA projects before. Most of them, I believe, come from Ubisoft, so they have experience. But as a studio, this was their first game, and it was indie studio, and it was a AA title, and it won awards for the best art direction, the best game direction, best narrative, best performance, best score and music, best indie game, and the best RPG, which I'll talk about that, and the best debut game. Apart from best RPG, I kind of have to agree with pretty much everything else. Jennifer English, who voice acts the role of Mael, yeah, she won the best performance for her role as Mael. The only thing that it didn't win was that it was nominated in the category for the Player's Choice Award, which I actually thought it might win because the Player's Choice had a whole number of items, including Clair Obscur, but the Player's Choice Award went to Wuthering Waves. The other only award that did not win, that it was nominated for the best audio design, which went to Battlefield 6, which I also think is interesting. Battlefield 6 has amazing audio design, so I think it did deserve that. But also, it had Ghost of Yote, which I believe deserved that audio design title a little bit more. Because even right now, with the latest update with Battlefield 6, it's got some audio issues happening. I think Ghost of Yote should have won that. They did win the Audio Design Award for Joysticks Awards, I think. However, they didn't win it for the Games Award. Ghost of Yote has amazing audio design, and most of the work that they have done in terms of audio is very subtle. It's very detailed in the way that it's so detailed that you just don't notice it. That's how good it is. Then that's probably one of the reasons why people don't really get it. Yeah, it's interesting. Anyway, it is an overwhelming favorite, Clair Obscur, this year, which is crazy, which also means their next game by Sandfall Interactive is going to be so hyped. It's going to be so hyped. It's almost going to be overhyped to the point that they're going to have so much high expectations from the studio. They're almost not going to be able to match that expectation. This is what happens. This usually happens to studios, especially new studios. They might actually pull it off because they look like they know what they're doing. They look like they have a whole vision for this game. They might also make a Clair Obscur sequel. I don't even know how that would work, but it might be a completely new IP. Whatever it is going to be, they're going to have their work cut out for them for the next game because the expectations and the hype is going to be unmatched for that studio. It's the same way how over the years Rockstar Games have grown to have so much hype around their releases too, to the point that GTA 6 have phenomenally high hype at the moment, even though it feels like it's dying down a little bit because of all the numerous delays we have faced lately. You can't argue the fact that when it releases, the hype is going to be back on. It's going to directly affect the overall productivity of the entire globe. It's going to be a global shift for at least a couple of days in terms of productivity, and it's going to take a nosedive for at least a couple of days, or if not a week or two, because of Grand Theft Auto. People are going to be taking days off and trying to play the game, and there's going to be a lot of them. It's become to that point with these releases with Rockstar games. I'm not saying Sandfall is in the same level, but for a debut game from an indie studio receiving this much hype, it's inevitable that their second game is going to get so much hype around it, regardless whether it's going to be good or not. If GTA 5 had released this year, probably would have dominated this year. But I think because of the delay, this year we managed to get more games into the spotlight. That was a really good thing. That was really good. Because if GTA was present, everything would be overshadowed by GTA's presence, and I think that would not have been fair for most of the games that released this year, because we did get a lot of good games. A lot of good games. Clair Obscur is one of them, but we did have so many other games, including KCD and Hades 2, Ghost of Yote. I'm just thinking on top of my head, but there's more. There's many more. And yeah, it was a good year. It was a very good year for games. Death Stranding was one of them. And Hollow Knight. Hollow Knight was a surprise hit. Those games managed to get a bit more time in the spotlight because of the absence of GTA 6. But next year is going to be a massacre of events, I'm telling you. Because next year also is looking like we're going to get a whole bunch of amazing games. And GTA 6 is also coming out. If they don't get delayed again to 2027, competition is going to be tough. Competition is going to be unfair, actually, because next year we do have a whole bunch of games coming out, including like Crimson Desert, First Light, but a whole bunch of games. Resident Evil coming in February 2027. We got Crimson Desert coming in March 19th. 007 First Light March 27th, and then Grand Theft Auto November 19th. Those were the biggest ones. High on Life 2 is dropping. We got Pragmata dropping in April. Diablo 4, Lord of the Hatred. Phantom Blade Zero is dropping in September. And a whole bunch of other games that are not confirmed also coming in 2026, like Marvel's Wolverine. The Blood of Dawnwalker is coming. That's a big one. Blood of Dawnwalker, because it's made by former Witcher 3 devs. So that's a big one in my list. Control Resonant is coming. Fable is supposedly dropping next year. Gears of War E-Day, it's a new Gears of War game dropping. Star Wars Galactic Racer is dropping next year, which is just a racing game, I know, but it is also looking pretty mental. So that could also be dropping. And Tomb Raider Legacy of Atlantis, which is the remake of the first game, is also dropping next year, which could also be very awesome. It looked awesome, the trailer. Australia 1, oh, thank you so much. Thanks for the follow. Anyway, there's a whole bunch of games coming next year. A lot of games are releasing in 2026. And most of them looking very good too. So when GTA 6 is dropping also next year, there's going to be tough competition for Game Awards next year. The good games that dropped this year got away because GTA 6 got delayed. So very good.